All right, everyone. Welcome back to this week's sort of weekly recap trading session. I just wanted to kind of go over the entry that I took now on Euro Dollar. Um, yeah, maybe explain a bit more like why I took the setup, what I was looking at, sort of pre and post analysis, and yeah, obviously just kind of diving into it a bit more. So this morning I posted in our sort of chats that I was quite keen to see one of two things holding, and that was pretty much this bearish order flow chain we had been forming on the hourly time frame. So if I just had to go back in time quickly, just so you guys get a better understanding of like my thought process on a day-to-day basis, right? So if we have a look at this, right, I maybe want to just hide some of the tools that I'm using just so that it doesn't get too clouted. For now, obviously, I will show you in more depth why I use those tools and how they can really help you as a trader. So if you have a look here on the daily time frame, sorry, on the hourly time frame, we had already seen price action kind of pop back into these areas multiple times. Really, just you know, ultimately, I think since last week, this was kind of the low that I've been trying to target back down to. I know that it doesn't necessarily happen all in one move, especially from an intraday sort of trading perspective. That this is really key. Understanding where we're sitting. Yes, the market has been trending, say, bullish Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but we did start to see, price action starting to break down a bit, at the beginning of this week, and we kind of saw this move back up. We this really took some time. This honestly was such dead slow PA over the last 2 days, which I love personally because it gives me this opportunity to kind of attack these lows. Um, and you can see that this chain was holding. So in my initial sort of thought process was, okay, cool, this is the most immediate sort of price action I'm looking at today. We had this resting daily high, which was forming as our sort of main buy side liquidity kind of target, and I really wanted to see price take that high and then pretty much start to trend lower. Obviously, I understand today is CPI, so for me personally, days like this do really they are really tough to trade. You do sort of face the risk of getting pretty much either taken out on both sides. So for me, whenever I'm trying to actively trade, say post a big news event, and let's say for example the news is coming out in the afternoon, um, one, I'm maybe not putting as much risk on the table as what I used to. And two, I'm definitely trying to get out before the news even happens. So in a scenario like this, for example, I was quite happy to kind of, drop down onto say the M5. And if you have a look over here, this is what I was showing you guys. So if I kind of bring us back to the stat maps and why I think they're really important, is because these were kind of all kind of bucketing into my initial idea. So I wanted to see price take this high. I wanted to see price take this high, stall within this range. Okay. Take this high, stall within the range, and give me some sort of entry model back to the downside. Okay. So if I had to just kind of evaluate this again, you can pretty much see here that once price action popped its head into this daily high, which was about just in between the two sessions. So here we go. Now, for me, why was I a bit more aggressive on this position? Well, a couple of things, right? So here's your immediate M15 low switch. Okay. Excuse me. this is where price ultimately would, if we started to break down from here, I would then like to see sort of price kind of trading a little bit lower from there. Okay. So if you have a look here, there's nothing wrong with the swing position, and if you play it forward, you would have already seen quite a nice move. Probably would have been able to get your 2R and you would have been out. But I didn't really want to take that chance. I didn't want to be holding through, say, the news. So for me, I was quite happy then to take what I had basically already built my bias and form my idea around, and really just try identify any potential opportunities on, say, the M5, which are kind of in alignment with, say, the M15. So if you have a look over here on the M15, let's say that this is your structural leg over here. I was then looking to see this displacement over here kind of break down. There wasn't really anything else sitting in here, so I was quite happy to initially take a position like this, okay? And then obviously maybe target these Asia lows over here, just sitting something like that. And if you play this out really, we get this break below, we get the retest of that like spot on, and then, price just rolls through. So that there is perfect. Absolutely nothing wrong with this at all. However, for me, I then went down to say the M5 in this scenario, just because I could see that, okay, cool. I have a basic idea of where I want to potentially get in. Let me see if I can refine it. And if you have a look over here, there was this. So if I just quickly hop back in now, there was this M5 displacement sitting over here, which was going to be potentially acting as my inversion level if we got a close below. I then entered a sell limit on this, stop just above the high, and I was pretty much wanting to try get my 1 to 2 and even potentially this low before the news even came out, right? And if you have a look over there, we literally just absolutely respected those areas so well. I actually eventually ended up closing for about 2R just underneath here. And then obviously we continued to roll to the downside thereafter. So that's a perfect scenario of, you can see over here, my entry. So if you go to the 5 minute, I'll have to get out of this bar replay, but you can see here, this was my entry, this was my exit. And I'm glad I exited when I did, because you can see how on the futures chart I would have probably got tapped out break even if I'd rolled. So I'm glad I got out where I did, because I knew the news event could happen. One of two things could have happened. But that's basically just a summary of what I'm trying to explain, how you can take your higher time frame bias, build it in with your lower time frame execution, and really kind of just scale in from an entries perspective and make the most of, say, trying to get a trade in before the news. Obviously, if there was no news, I would have probably held this, and I would have liked to have then maybe targeted these previous daily lows, or this, sell side liquidity sitting down here. But unfortunately, not every day is going to be a non-news trading day, so you have to pretty much, manage your system and your style of trading in and around that. So really happy with how this played out in the end. Everything was kind of shared pre sort of bias, post analysis, and live. So yeah, really, really happy with how this trade ended in the end. So I'll see you guys in the next sort of trade breakdown. I'm going to try keep these a bit more frequent, and yeah, explain my thought processes on why I trade the way I do.